Cool. So let me. I want
Until now.
to. I find it interesting. So you were growing up in Canada, even though Canada has a big diaspora of Ukrainians and other nationalities. You said the word Slavs. You didn't see more Eastern Europe. How did people perceive, let's say, Slavs or Eastern Europeans then, or even yourself? How did they perceive you?
So it's interesting because like there's many Ukrainians who were in Canada I met. Like there was ones who moved in like the maybe like early 90s, and so they had this like they moved there. They still love a lot of them actually like they were Ukrainian, but they loved Soviet Union. They kind of like even me back then like Russia I felt like was a brotherly nation. You know, I would speak Russian, although I always identified as a Ukrainian. But some of those immigrants who came a bit earlier, they kind of it was like the same thing for them, but they also had this view that everything is like really bad back home. But they're the ones who moved maybe like 90s, 80s, and it was like maybe their kids just growing up. And then there were immigrants who, not immigrants, but like they're like third generation Ukrainians. Like, you know, their ancestors moved in the 30s, and there was like a big migration. So they were really Canadian, and they really like loved their Ukrainian heritage, but it was very like they might do Ukrainian dancing, Ukrainian music and stuff, but they spoke Ukrainian with like this very American accent or Canadian accent. There was this actually creator in Ukraine called Michael Schur. If you don't know, he's very famous. I think he's actually serving in the army right now, but in Ukraine a couple of years ago, he started the show pretending to be a Ukrainian from Toronto, but he's actually from Lviv, and he mimicked this accent. And I was like, that's the accent that those Ukrainians who grew up and like third generation, second generation would speak. And they're really nice people. They really clung to their roots, but their mentality was a bit different. You know, they didn't understand some nuances. You know, they were very westernized. You know.